Well, today is Tuesday, day 67. It's the last day of the year as well. The last video was like day 40 something. Chassis was in here, and I was just starting working on the cab metal repair. Chassis outside right now to get me more shot space, keep some heat inside, and it's all in primer, and the rest of it is painted green. So it's just sitting back here now. So all I have left to do is just paint toolbox, battery box, fuel tank, and then the back axles in green. That's all that's left for the chassis to work on. Of course, paint wheels. So that's about all that's left. So that's the chassis. That's outside last month. So that's that. And then when the chassis left, I brought my wood box in, and then also the engine sitting here to be gone this weekend. So last weekend we went down to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and picked up a short block from a guy. $800 for a whole block, good crank. I have intake, exhaust manifolds, valves, heads, filters, all those except the no generator. I don't think it's got a water pump, and no air compressor, no turbo, no starter. But mainly all I need is a block and good crank. So got that plus other parts he had. I kind of needed a TM book, service book. I got some return springs I needed, handbrake cable. That's really about it. And I got the block for the fuel tank that's all corroded for $800. So I got all those for about $950 total. So I'm waiting on a guy to show up right now. He's my engine guy. I'm gonna take my engine to. Dad recommended him. That worked on locomotives for GE, for the old switchers, not the massive cargo trains, more of the switchers, smaller train, and he built engines. So we called him 2 weeks ago. He said, like, yeah, I've worked on these motors before, so he's got some experience. And he says about $1,000 total. Pay me cash, and I'll get it running for you with the new short block. Pull the parts over to it, get that one running, and then you pick it up. Simple. And so I already ordered parts in advance already. So I got new head gaskets, all from Memphis Equipment. Head gaskets, intake, exhaust, turbo. Also, I bought a remain seal just to do it and not to worry about it. So I'm getting that. I will be ordering a new clutch. At the time, when you first looking at parts, it's expensive, but you're paying for all the parts. I just need the pressure plate. That's half the price. So I will be buying a new clutch. But I'm going to hold off until we separate this thing, because I'm going to keep the transmission here as the motor's being sent off, being worked on for a good week or two. Meanwhile, I'm going to start this apart because I need to get a new input shaft, first and reverse gear, and fourth and fifth gear sync all need replaced. So while I'm doing this, inspect the clutch. I'm here. I'm going to do it. So still replace it, but at least inspect it. So that needs all done. I also need to find a new arm. I disconnected it when we pulled the motor out, but somehow this thing still got snagged on something. And Dad says, don't go grab it. Our way to be lifting the motor out with two tractors, I could still barely lift this motor with a sketch. He says, don't risk it. So, cast iron piece broke. Small arm. They're plentiful. I just gotta find one. I can't find anything on the surplus stores, but parts trucks are right here. So, it's not that hard to pull off. One bolt, pin, slides off. So, I need to find one of those still. So there's that. Yeah, there's the motor. I was gonna pull parts off this motor and all, but it's like the guy said, just leave it be. I like to see how things are laid out, and so I can take pictures himself, and he can pull parts off, especially the injector pump. Make sure it's all timed the way it is, and make sure it's timed right on the next motor. So he said just separate it and bring it over. So that's the plan. So lifting this thing on the trailer is gonna be a challenge. I still see that going to be a challenge happening. Plus, I'm going to lift it up and re-rig this whole setup. So, but also I gotta tell him, of course, the back mounts are the same because this whole plate goes on that motor, but the front motor mounting has changed. The one that I got was set up to be a big bar. Mine's two separate ones, so I gotta switch the motor mounts. So that needs to be swapped over. So anyway, that's all this. I do plan on upgrading my turbo. I'm going to leave it the way it is for now, just because I know it works, and I have one, and why spend the money if it's not broke? So I'm going to use what I have. But I think, again, for me, part of me wants to finish this truck off and just sell it, enjoy it for at least one solid year of enjoyment. Either I put big tires on and keep it, or I just go sell it off and enjoy other parts in life to do, or buy a Tacoma or Tundra, a better reliable truck. So if I go that route, sweet. If not, I'll keep it. And I think I'm doing an HX40 turbo. But also we're doing rebuild, upgrade studs, but they're just so expensive for the ARB studs. I'm told to use those studs, but they're expensive. If he stops over today, I need to ask him, do you have that head bolt tool? That's hard to get to your head bolts by our injectors. So that's the one thing I need to ask him if he's got the tool or not. I don't. Friend does. I gotta borrow it, probably have it shipped and borrow it, or just make your own. So there's those things I need to deal with. Also, when we pull my motor out, I forgot to disconnect a airline for somehow I forgot it. It goes right here. It snapped off right inside, so it's not bad. I'm probably just gonna pull these two bolts out, pull that off, get it easy out, get it out. And then on my new block motor, this is still all here, and this piece right here, it snapped and broke right inside. Didn't break off here, so it's gonna be easy to change out. So I got one. And then also, I already have filters, all new filters. I have all new fresh oil for it too. So already, so that's the motor deal. And then now for the cab and body work. So I finished up all my rush repair except one spot. Now I have access to it, so now I'm going to start doing it now. But everywhere else is done. So I have holes here, small pinholes. I had rust in this area badly. And then right here is a big concave in the metal work, all concaved. So fill that in, made it flat. There's a crack here, that's factory, seam. I filled it with Bondo, which I want to chisel it out, but part of me says it looks nice without it. So I left this side be, but that side's gonna crack. Whatever. This side was just rough. It's still, you can feel it rough, but it's a lot better what it was. Had a lot of cracks running from the old Bondo and just the metalwork. There's still some cracks remaining, but it's better than what it was. Up here as well, big chunks taken out, big 1/4 inch chunk of Bondo. There still is that much Bondo there. My hinges at some point in the military life has bent up and broke this thing off. So they put a big plate of steel here. Somehow it's secure. It's sturdy now. But right in this area, there's a big square. And around that, it's a big drop down. So, on both sides. But this area is the worst. So, now it's all good. It's all sanding down the 220 grit. That's enough. But I'm finding some small pinholes. So I gotta find some epoxy. Kind of fill that in. Got the cracks over there. I got a few minor stuff to do. I still might work on these as I've finished this thing up and block sand it make sure it's all smooth. I might attempt to work on these. So that was that. And then big fix there. Just put 1/8" plate. All these holes here, I just didn't bother. Just Bondo across. If I try to weld it, it's gonna get bigger and bigger. Turn the welder to the lowest setting. Small MIG, not the big MIG. It still burns through. So either I replace the whole rocker or Bondo. Bondo's fine. This piece here was a massive repair, so I did actually repair it, put a plate of steel behind it and fill it in. Back here, fixed up these plates. I just put the plate on top because the back bed, the chassis, everything's hiding it, but I still want to do a repair. So that's fixed and fixed. So everything's fixed except for, of course, this big corner piece. And I said I'm not going to work on it unless the dashboard's off. So dash is off finally. Just took 2 bolts out here, and then I only had 1 bolt holding it on that side. Then you have the big bolt there, 9/16 head. And then you have these 2 bolts here, Phillips screws that don't want to come off. They just stripped and broke. And that's I only had 1 bolt, and that one snapped off. So I think I drill and tap those ones out. But my replacement screws, I hate Phillips. My old Jeep was all flatheads, even worse. Either I upgrade to Allen key, which I'd rather not for this truck. So I'm just going to run just regular bolts right through. That's probably 5/16 thread size. We'll just put a 5/16 bolt head on it. One of those, just to make it easy to uninstall, not snap off Phillips or strip it out. So that's my plan there, just to improve next time. I may have to pull the dashboard off, which I probably don't have to because that big module is nice, being military. But right now I'm doing rewire, so it's all going to come off. So that's why I just separated it. I'm still fighting one of my cables that goes down below. Once that's off, then the dash can come off, and I can do a nice proper paint job on the bench for the dashboard. And the gauge cluster, still gotta mask that off and paint that too on the bench. So that's all that. Glove box, I took it off and I cleaned it up, washed it all, and I'm giving that to my grandma. I put this little mat in there when the kids came from Kansas. We did test drives. In the video, you can just hear bolts and hardware, and he's got light bulbs in there just bouncing around inside. Like, what's the knocking noise? The motor, the transmission, or this? So I put this in there. It did help right away, but it's not pretty. It's $1. It does the job, but it's not what I really want. So I said, just grab it. Put some old carpet in there, like carpet they use for schools. I don't know what it is, but it's like tile. Get 1 tile, put it in there. That's my idea. And here it's out. Let's wash it. And on the edges, I just put some primer on the edges just to give it some protection of rust. I don't know. It's waterproof, so I figured add a little layer of primer. And then first coat of green right now, spray can 24052, forest green, first coat. So I'm gonna do 2 more coats, and then she's in Buffalo right now, so I have time. And then when she comes back with my parents, I'll just give this to her hair. Now it's all painted and pretty. Put some liner inside it. So I'm thinking about doing carpet on the bottom and halfway up on the sides. If you want to do a full wrap, that's fine, and add a back wall piece so stuff doesn't slide back and you hear it hit the back wall. That would be nice too. Then I wouldn't mind making myself a piece of wood that fits down center, maybe. Depends on what I store inside. I have a nice divider. I have my Overland maintenance journal. That's got to fit in there, registration and all. So the journal's kind of wide. So I got to make sure the journal fits. The rest is just parts. So that's the plan there. I don't plan on storing any tools in here. Most tools are in the toolbox down below. And when the hardtop goes on, I want to do metal MOLLE racks on the back wall where you can just put pouches and those hold your tools. medical kit. So that's the plan there for the back hard top to store stuff. All right, so that's my update really. Sanded down 220. It's in primer. So we're good, ready for green paint. Just got to finish up this dashboard and wiring mess. Pull all the wires out. Do a nice cleaning in here, air gun. Wipe it down a little bit, let it dry. Then I'm ready for green paint. Dashboard I'll do on the bench. The gauge cluster on the bench. Otherwise, this is ready for paint. Then moving on to the doors. I don't want to paint that really. I'm going to paint multiple parts, make the spray gun worth using. I got 2 gallons, so this is the worst door. So many layers of paint, and so I got some 40 grits, but it's on a 5-inch pad, not 6-inch. I can't find 6-inch for my D8, so I'm gonna modify a wheel. These wheels wear out eventually, so I'm gonna get and just turn it down an inch, make it a 5-inch wheel instead. I'm only doing flat surface. I guess I even just leave it 6-inch. It's fine, but anyway. Do that, do 40 grit, 80 grits, and then I do like 150, 100, 120 grit, whatever. That's enough. And then Dad says, let's just roll primer on here and then sand the primer down as like a layer Bondo for say as filler. Do that, and then just paint it. I'm going to leave the hinges on. I don't want to fight those screws, but I will be pulling all the door handles off. Those are broken, so that's those anyway. But the ones on the bottom are easy to get to and pull off. On the back side, it's not bad paint. It's green, but it's not the right green. And there's some paint flake chips happening. So I'm just rough it up with some sanding, and then just paint over top. So that's my doors. That should go quick. Just this is the hard part of the doors. And the doors will be ready for paint as well. And then I want to get also my floor pans done too. So all the floor pans that go in here, they're in the back bed of the truck right now. Just clean those up real quick, prime them. And those are ready for paint as well. Then my exhaust brackets there. Seat belts, I should probably pull them or mask them off. That's about it for this cab, ready for paint. And then after the cab, I want to get the seat cushions off and paint that framework for the seat bench, and then put my new cushion on after I'm all done. And that's done. Then I like to also, before I paint as well, get my windshield prepped, Masco off, the sides that were blue, try to get rid of that blue, sand it, mask off, and get this thing painted at the same exact time. So that way my whole, all my cab stuff is just done and painted, and I can let it sit outside on a skid, and as I can work on transmission work on the bench, motor will be at the shop, and I can bring the chassis in here, paint the back half green as well, so at the same exact time. And that way that's done. Front cab's done. So the next thing is hood and fenders and headlight buckets and front bumper. That's left to paint green. Hood and fenders have a lot of dents. So those to do. Then we have hardtop to work on, which I like to get done kind of now as well. Just so I can put the hardtop on, but also I got to lift the cab on the chassis with it off. So I guess no rush. Get that painted green as well. But also want to take the top section off. It's all one piece right now. I'd like to take it off and give it to Grandma, make a nice headliner inside it as well at her apartment. Luckily, she's at the first apartment door as the front entrance, so it makes it easy to carry stuff in. So yeah, try to get everything rushed out. Jerry cans, paint those green too. Same exact color, green. Anyway, I'm at a good pace, making good progress. My deadline is April. I kind of said tomorrow is my deadline, just to really push myself. Not gonna happen, but I think April is my deadline to have my truck up and running again. The back bed still can be off and not painted, but everything else I like to be done. I already have plates. I'm registered, so we're good to go. And then the first big events is just car shows around town between April and June to hit and drive my truck to work. Be nice. And then Bantam Jeep Festival down in Butler. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hour drive. Make this thing 2 hour drive for this truck. I'll just take Route 8, which is right here. Take Route 8 all the way down south, down the Butler. And I like to have the canvas, get brand new canvas for the back bed, and I need 2 new bows, and so I can sleep in the back bed. At camp, wear my military BDU battle uniform there in the military encampment. So that's the first main big drive and event for the year, really. Otherwise, just car shows, and then in August, fairgrounds, sled pull, maybe. That's it. That's my main push. And then just use my truck for yard work and everything else. And then by end of August, I might list it for sale. We'll see. If not, we'll keep it. Anyway, that's my update. So that's where I'm at. Day 67. So, alrighty, that's my update. So, thanks for watching and listening. A lot more work to do. Alright.